Every morning is a crossroads, a small doorway that decides whether you enter the day with clarity or with chaos. Most people wake up and fall instantly into noise, demands, and distractions, allowing the world to set the tone for their thoughts. But a Stoic begins the day differently. A Stoic begins with ownership. Marcus Aurelius wrote that the mind becomes stronger when we direct it before anything else has the chance to pull it away. And in our modern world, this truth is even more vital. The first words you speak to yourself each morning become the blueprint for your entire day. They shape your focus, your reactions, your discipline, and your sense of inner peace. Today, you will step into 5 daily reminders rooted in Stoic philosophy. Each one is designed to reset your mind, anchor your emotions, and give you the strength to move through the world with intention instead of reaction. Comment: I choose mastery. 1. Today, I control my mind before the world does your first battle. Each morning is not with the world, it is with your attention. If you don't claim your mind the moment you wake up, something else will. Most people open their eyes and immediately surrender their inner world without even realizing it. They hand control to notifications, messages, deadlines, noise, and the emotions of other people. The world enters before their own thoughts have a chance to settle. By the time they stand up, their mind is already crowded, reactive, and scattered. A Stoic does not begin the day in reaction. A Stoic begins in command. Your mind is a territory that must be guarded. When the first moments of your day are filled with outside demands, you lose clarity before you even start moving. But when you begin with yourself, even for a brief moment of stillness, you reclaim the throne of your inner world. You decide the tone of your day instead of letting the world dictate it. There is a quiet power in choosing not to reach for your phone the second you wake. There is a strength in giving your breath, your thoughts, and your awareness a space to rise before anything external enters. This act alone separates those who drift through the day from those who lead it. Nothing outside has power unless your mind grants permission. The Stoics understood this long before our era of constant distraction. When you begin your morning with intention, you anchor yourself in clarity. You become less reactive. You become harder to shake, and as the hours unfold, you return again and again to the stability you built in those first sacred moments. Imagine waking up tomorrow and letting silence greet you instead of digital noise. Imagine opening your eyes and remembering that you have a choice to lead your mind rather than be led by the world. That one shift can transform the entire emotional direction of your day. Clarity becomes easier. Calm becomes more natural. You stop chasing peace because you start the day already rooted in it. And when challenges come, you respond from strength, not confusion. You already decided who holds the steering wheel. The day belongs to whoever takes control first. Let it be you. 2. My emotions are my responsibility. No one can make you feel anything unless your mind agrees to feel it. Your reactions reveal your strength far more than your circumstances do. Most people move through the day believing their emotions are controlled by what happens to them. Someone says something rude and they feel wounded. A plan falls apart and they feel defeated. A small inconvenience appears and their entire mood collapses. They live as if every external event has direct access to their inner world. But a Stoic sees the truth beneath the noise. What harms you is not the event, but the story your mind tells about it. Your emotional life is not a storm you are forced to endure. It is a responsibility you are meant to master. The moment you accept this, everything begins to shift. You stop blaming people for how you feel. You stop letting situations hijack your state of mind. You stop surrendering your peace to anything that knocks on your door. You're not responsible for what happens, but you are always responsible for your interpretation. This realization is not comfortable at first. It demands honesty. It demands maturity. It demands the courage to admit that your reactions are not accidents, but choices, even when those choices happen quickly and unconsciously. Yet within that discomfort lies an extraordinary freedom. If your reactions belong to you, then your peace belongs to you as well. Think about a moment when someone disappointed you. The frustration you felt did not come from the act itself. It came from the expectation you carried. Think about a time when someone raised their voice. The anger did not rise because of the volume. It rose because you attached meaning to the tone. Painful moments do not command your emotions. They simply trigger the beliefs you already hold. The Stoic pause is the difference between living as a puppet and living as a master. When something provokes you, there is a doorway, a single breath where you can interrupt the automatic reaction. In that pause, you reclaim power. You observe the emotion instead of becoming the emotion. You ask yourself what story your mind is creating. You choose the meaning rather than inheriting it. This is emotional responsibility in its purest form. Imagine this happening in your daily life. A coworker speaks sharply. Instead of reacting, you breathe and remind yourself that their tone reflects their state, not your worth. Traffic delays your schedule. Instead of spiraling into irritation, you recognize that impatience only punishes you, never the situation. A loved one forgets something important. Instead of allowing hurt to consume you, you respond from understanding rather than wounded pride. You are no longer tossed around by every gust of external wind. You become the anchor instead of the wave. The world may remain chaotic, but your inner world does not have to mirror it. When you take responsibility for your emotions, you stop living as a victim of what you cannot control. This does not mean suppressing feelings. It means owning them. It means choosing your response. It means recognizing that peace is not something others can protect for you. It is something you must guard yourself. People will behave unpredictably. Circumstance will shift without warning. Challenges will appear uninvited. But your inner response can remain intentional, steady, and aligned with your values. There is a quiet strength in simply observing your emotions instead of being controlled by them. There is a dignity in responding calmly when others expect you to react loudly. There is a wisdom in choosing meaning that empowers you rather than meaning that injures you. Your emotions are signals, not commands. They are invitations to reflect, not instructions to obey. When you understand this, you stop being afraid of feeling. You stop being ashamed of your reactions. You begin to study them, learn from them, and use them as tools rather than burdens. In every moment, you have the ability to return to yourself. Responsibility is not a punishment. It is a form of liberation. It is the realization that no one controls the inside of you unless you hand them the keys. Every time you choose calm over chaos, thoughtfulness over impulse, clarity over confusion, you take those keys back. Your peace is not fragile when you stop outsourcing it, and the world becomes far less capable of shaking you. Your emotions belong to you. Claim them, guide them, and rise above what tries to control them. 3. I focus only on what I can control. Your life becomes heavier the moment you try to hold what was never yours to carry. Almost all anxiety begins when the mind reaches for things outside its reach. People lose themselves in imagined futures, in outcomes they cannot dictate, in reactions they cannot force, in opinions they cannot rewrite. They exhaust their spirit trying to manage the unpredictable, trying to micromanage destiny, trying to secure guarantees that no human being has ever been promised. The Stoics understood this long before the modern world multiplied our worries. They saw that the mind becomes tormented the moment it steps beyond its natural domain. You have control over your thoughts, your choices, your actions, your effort, your character. You do not have control over the weather, over time, over strangers, over the moods of loved ones, over every twist and turn of circumstance. Yet the mind often confuses influence with ownership. And in that confusion, it suffers. Peace does not come from managing everything. It comes from understanding what belongs to you and what never will. There is a quiet liberation in accepting this. When you release the idea that everything must bend to your will, the world stops feeling like an opponent. You stop fighting storms that were never yours to battle. You stop tightening your grip on things that cannot be held, and because your energy is no longer scattered in every direction, you begin to direct it inward, where your real power lives. Think about a moment when you worried endlessly about someone's reaction. The tension did not come from the situation itself. It came from the belief that you could control the conclusion. Now picture a time when you feared an uncertain outcome. The fear rose not from the event, but from the story that your happiness depended on securing the exact version of the future you desired. This is how the mind traps itself, not in what happens, but in what it insists must happen. When you focus on what you cannot control, you abandon the power you do have. A Stoic returns again and again to a simple question: does this belong to me? If the answer is yes, they act with courage, clarity, and discipline. If the answer is no, they release the illusion of control, not out of apathy, but out of wisdom. Releasing what is not yours is not giving up. It is growing up. It is redirecting your strength toward what can actually change rather than what can only drain you. Imagine standing at the edge of a turbulent sea. You cannot still the waves. You cannot command the tide. You cannot negotiate with the ocean, but you can learn to navigate it. You can steady your breath. You can choose your direction. You can decide how you meet each rising wave. This is the difference between trying to control life and trying to control yourself. There is a deep calm that appears when you make this shift. The noise of the world may still surround you, but it no longer destabilizes you. People may disappoint you, but they no longer determine your worth. Schedules may fall apart, but they no longer unravel your inner balance. The future may remain uncertain, but you walk into it without fear because you trust your ability to respond, even if you cannot predict. Nothing strengthens you more than focusing your energy only where it can make a difference. Your attention becomes sharper. Your decisions become wiser. Your progress becomes faster because you are no longer dividing your strength across battles that were unwinnable from the start. This is the gift of the Stoic mindset. It frees your hands from grasping, frees your heart from worrying, and frees your mind from spinning in circles of imagined disasters. When you embrace this way of living, your days begin to shift. You stop chasing control and start practicing mastery. You stop reacting and start responding. You stop living in fear of what might happen and start living in alignment with who you are. And slowly, almost imperceptibly, your life becomes lighter. Not because the world changed, but because you stopped trying to control the parts of it that never belonged to you. Focus on what is yours. Release what is not. This is how you reclaim your power. Calmly, wisely, and without struggle. 4. Discomfort is my training ground. Comfort feels safe, but it quietly weakens you. Discomfort feels threatening, but it quietly prepares you. Most people spend their entire lives arranging their days to avoid anything that feels hard, inconvenient, or unfamiliar. They chase softness, convenience, predictability, and ease. And with every choice to avoid discomfort, they unknowingly train themselves to become fragile. When life hits, and life always hits, they shatter. Not because the challenge was too big, but because their inner strength was too small. A Stoic sees discomfort through a different lens. Discomfort is not an enemy. Discomfort is a teacher. Discomfort is the forge where resilience, discipline, courage, and emotional stability are shaped. When something feels difficult, a Stoic does not retreat. A Stoic steps closer because they understand that discomfort is the gymnasium of the mind. Growth does not happen in comfort. It happens in resistance. Think of a time when you overcame something meaningful. It never came from an easy moment. It came from a difficult decision, a painful truth, an uncomfortable step, a situation that asked more from you than you thought you could give. Discomfort is the signal that you are stepping beyond who you used to be and moving toward who you are capable of becoming. But society conditions people to crave ease. It advertises shortcuts, promises quick results, and convinces you that anything uncomfortable is dangerous or wrong. This creates a generation of individuals with low resilience, low patience, and low tolerance for adversity. Life feels heavier because they have not trained for its weight. A Stoic approaches life like a warrior preparing for an unpredictable battlefield. The warrior does not fear the burn of training. The warrior knows that the burn is what strengthens him. The discomfort is not punishment, it is preparation. When you choose discomfort intentionally, life's hardships can no longer break you. Imagine choosing small moments of challenge throughout your day. Not dramatic feats, but simple acts that remind your mind and body that you are not ruled by comfort. Acts that teach you to do what is necessary even when you do not feel like it. Acts that reconnect you to your own strength. Stepping into the cold instead of the warm. Walking when you prefer to sit. Finishing the task when your excuses tell you to delay. Having the difficult conversation rather than avoiding it. Sitting with your emotions instead of numbing them. Being still rather than seeking distraction. Each action is a micro-rehearsal of resilience. Each one strengthens the part of you that faces life without flinching, and something powerful begins to happen. You start trusting yourself more. You start respecting yourself more. You begin to see proof, real proof, that you can endure, that you can choose action over impulse, that you can carry weight without collapsing. Discomfort gradually becomes less threatening. It becomes familiar, like a companion guiding you forward. Discomfort is the doorway to a stronger version of yourself. Avoiding discomfort keeps you stuck. Embracing it moves you forward. When you step into the difficult, the world becomes less intimidating. Challenges become opportunities. Rejection becomes redirection. Failure becomes feedback. Every obstacle transforms into a tool you can use rather than a wall that stops you. There is also a deep emotional strength that forms when you allow yourself to experience discomfort instead of escaping it. You learn to sit with tension without panicking. You learn to process fear without surrendering to it. You learn to breathe even when everything inside you wants to rush toward escape. This composure becomes one of your greatest powers. Most people want confidence but avoid the very conditions that create it. They want peace but flee anything that threatens it. They want strength but refuse the weight required to build it. A Stoic walks a different path. A Stoic understands that comfort may feel pleasant, but it rarely builds character. Discomfort may feel unpleasant, but it shapes a mind that nothing can break. Picture yourself stepping into tomorrow with this mindset. Instead of resisting difficulty, you welcome it. Instead of avoiding the hard thing, you choose it. Instead of shrinking from challenge, you rise toward it. The world begins to look different when you no longer fear discomfort. You move more boldly. You make decisions with clarity. You stop hesitating. You stop shrinking. You stop doubting your ability to endure. What others fear becomes your training. And slowly, you begin to carry yourself differently. Not with arrogance, but with grounded strength. The kind of strength that comes from knowing you have faced discomfort and walked through it. The kind of confidence that cannot be faked. The kind of resilience that only grows in the presence of challenge. Discomfort is not something to escape. It is something to meet, to study, to use. Every time you choose it, you sharpen your mind. Every time you endure it, you expand your capacity. Every time you rise through it, you become someone the old version of you would admire. Discomfort is the training ground where the strongest parts of you are born. 5. I live according to my values, not my moods. Your mood changes by the hour. Your values remain steady for a lifetime. If you let your emotions lead your life, they will pull you in every direction except the one you truly want to go. Most people live in a constant tug-of-war with their own feelings. When they feel motivated, they act. When they feel tired, they stall. When they feel discouraged, they quit. When they feel insecure, they shrink. Their entire life becomes a reaction to whatever emotion appears in the moment. And because emotions shift like weather, their direction shifts with it. This is why so many people never follow through, never build consistency, never finish what they start. They are ruled by moods instead of guided by principles. A Stoic lives differently. A Stoic understands that emotions are real but not reliable. They are allowed but not obeyed. They can be acknowledged, but they do not have the authority to dictate one's actions. Instead of asking, "How do I feel right now?" a Stoic asks, "What is the right thing according to my values?" That single shift separates discipline from chaos, progress from stagnation, character from impulse. Your values are the compass. Your feelings are the weather. A wise person navigates by the compass, not the clouds. Think about a time when you promised yourself you would change something meaningful. Perhaps it was a habit, a relationship pattern, a goal, a behavior you knew needed to evolve. You felt determined, clear, and focused. Then the next day arrived, and with it came doubt, fatigue, distraction, or insecurity. Suddenly, the promise felt heavy, distant, and inconvenient. Your mood shifted, and the promise dissolved with it. This is not because you were incapable. It is because you were following your feelings instead of your values. Your values are the closest thing you have to an inner truth. They represent the person you want to be, not the person you feel like being in the moment. They do not bend with emotion. They do not change with circumstance. They do not weaken when life becomes inconvenient. They remain steady even when everything inside you trembles. When you serve your moods, you betray your future. When you serve your values, you build it. Many people misunderstand discipline. They think discipline requires constant motivation, constant confidence, and constant energy. But real discipline is built on something far more enduring: commitment to a value, the value of integrity, the value of courage, the value of growth, the value of self-respect. When these values lead your life, your actions remain consistent even when your emotions are unstable. There is a quiet power in waking up on a difficult morning and choosing to act anyway because your value system does not negotiate with your moods. There is a strength in honoring your word, even when your inspiration is gone. There is dignity in doing what is right, not because you feel like it, but because you have decided that this is who you are. Think of a person who treats others with respect only when they feel good. Compare them to someone who treats others with respect because it aligns with their principles. One is inconsistent, the other is dependable. Now think of someone who works on their goals only when circumstances are perfect. Compare them to someone who works on their goals because growth is a value they refuse to abandon. One is easily derailed, the other becomes unstoppable. Values turn you into someone the world can rely on, and someone you can rely on too. Living according to values also reduces emotional suffering. When you act based on whatever you feel, you're constantly overwhelmed by guilt, regret, insecurity, and self-doubt. But when your decisions come from a place of principle, your mind becomes quieter. You stop wondering if you did the right thing. You stop replaying conversations in your head. You stop drowning in self-judgment. You acted with integrity. You acted with clarity. You acted with intention. The emotional storms still appear, but they pass through you instead of pulling you under. Values also protect you from the influence of others. People will pressure you, tempt you, criticize you, misunderstand you. The world will insist that you follow its expectations, its pace, its norms. But when your values are strong, you remain anchored. You choose your path, not the path others push you toward. You make decisions based on inner wisdom, not external approval. You stop bending yourself to fit into spaces that were not built for you. A person without values is easily manipulated. A person with strong values becomes unshakable. Imagine facing a difficult conversation. Your mood may tell you to avoid it, but your value of honesty calls you forward. Imagine facing a setback. Your mood may tell you to quit, but your value of perseverance urges you to continue. Imagine facing a moment of temptation. Your mood may tell you to indulge, but your value of discipline reminds you of your long-term direction. This is the power of living according to values. Your life becomes guided by something deeper than convenience, deeper than comfort, deeper than fear. The world is full of people who wait for the right mood before taking action. And because the right mood rarely arrives on time, their goals remain dreams, their dreams remain ideas, and their ideas remain regrets. But when you act from values, you create momentum, you build a pattern of self-trust. You begin to see yourself as someone capable of commitment, someone capable of resilience, someone capable of transformation. Your mood may say you are tired. Your value says, build consistency. Your mood may say you are afraid. Your value says, act with courage. Your mood may say you are not enough. Your value says, honor your growth. Every time you choose your values over your moods, you strengthen the leader within you. You move closer to your ideal self. Every day offers a new chance to return to yourself. These reminders are not just ideas to think about, but principles to live by. When you choose awareness over impulse, responsibility over reaction, clarity over chaos, challenge over comfort, and values over moods, you reshape the direction of your entire life. Nothing changes overnight, yet everything changes when you practice these truths consistently. Carry them with you into tomorrow. Repeat them until they become instinct. Let them guide the way you think, act, and rise. Your mind is your foundation. Build it with intention.